All right, let's talk about something that I think every product owner has nightmares about. It's that moment you're handed the keys to a big, old, complex legacy system. You know the one. It's a challenge that, honestly, keeps a lot of us up at night.
So, does this whole scenario sound a little too familiar? Suddenly, you're in charge, but wait, there's no documentation. The people who actually built it are long gone, and you're just left there trying to piece it all together. It is, without a doubt, one of the most stressful spots you can be in.
You know, there's actually a perfect term for this. Shishan. It basically means a legacy system nightmare. And I love the analogy they use. It's like a blind box that might just explode. You want to add one tiny feature, and your devs are telling you, that could take weeks just to figure out the logic. Or even worse, you try to remove what looks like a totally useless module, and boom, the whole system just collapses. Every single move you make feels like a massive gamble.
So how in the world do we end up in this mess? Well, it really boils down to one single, critical point of failure: vanishing knowledge. It's simple, really. When the people who know the system inside and out leave the company, they take all that crucial unwritten knowledge right out the door with them.
And here's the thing. The most important stuff, the knowledge we desperately need, it's never in that outdated wiki page or some half-finished README file. No, the real story, the why behind a decision, the memory of that one weird bug from 3 years ago, all of that essential context is buried deep inside the code's own history. It's a story that, up until now, has been basically impossible to read.
And the result of all this? As a product owner, you're pretty much forced to operate in a total fog. You're making these huge, critical decisions about where the product is going based on little more than guesswork and your gut feeling, because all the historical facts are completely invisible.
But what if we could change that? This is where a really fascinating new way of thinking comes into play, and it shifts the whole perspective. It's time we stop just reading the code as it exists right now and start reading its entire history. So let's meet our new best friend, the AI software archaeologist.
Okay, so think about it. The old way meant developers would burn weeks, sometimes months, just reading through the current code, trying their best to guess what the original developers were thinking. But this new way, which is being pioneered by tools like GitMe.ai, is completely different. It uses AI to analyze the code's entire life story, every single commit, to finally understand why the system is the way it is.
So you're probably wondering, how does this AI archaeologist actually work its magic? Well, it's got two main superpowers. First, it uncovers hidden risks by basically creating a map of the system's past. And second, it creates documentation that, get this, actually stays up to date.
The process is called versioned knowledge mining, and it's pretty revolutionary. First, the AI just churns through thousands, maybe millions, of historical code commits. From all that data, it automatically builds a complete knowledge graph of the system, figuring out how every little piece is connected. And then, here's the best part. It uses that map to pinpoint these hidden connections and risks that, honestly, no human would ever be able to find.
And this is where it gets really, really practical. Let's say you want to update the order module. The AI can pop up with a super specific critical warning, just like this one. It tells you there's a deep, totally non-obvious link to a payment patch from 3 years ago. Now that's not a guess. That's a data-driven insight that could literally save you from a catastrophic failure. And that brings us to its second superpower. We all know the pain of documentation that is hopelessly out of sync with the code, right? Well, this approach completely solves that problem by creating a living document that automatically updates itself every single time the code changes.
Just think about what this means for you. As a product owner, you don't have to hunt down a developer anymore just to understand some business rule. You can literally just ask the AI a direct question in plain English and get an answer that is based on the absolute most current version of the code. It puts the power to find the truth right in your hands instantly.
So what's the actual real-world impact of all this? Well, the results are nothing short of a complete reimagining of what efficiency looks like. It takes teams from being too scared to even touch the legacy system to being confident enough to actually go in and strategically make it better.
And let's look at the numbers, because they're pretty wild. The data shows that teams using this approach see an incredible 88% boost in efficiency when they're modernizing these old systems. That is not just an improvement. That's a massive, game-changing leap forward.
And it's not just for those huge refactoring projects either. For your day-to-day work, like adding new features to that same legacy system, you're looking at cutting the development cycle by up to 50%. Your developers can stop guessing and just start building.
Let's break down what that means for you. It means you can finally find and safely get rid of those code zombie zones.
You know, that old dead logic that's just slowing everything down? It means your developers can work with real clarity and speed. And, maybe most importantly, this kind of visibility helps slash the risk of production incidents by a staggering 80%.
So let's just pull all of this together. This whole approach, it's not just about fixing a problem. It's about completely reframing what a legacy system even is. It should never be a liability. It's actually a valuable asset that holds years and years of business logic, an asset that you can now finally reclaim.
At the end of the day, the goal isn't some massive, high-risk, expensive rewrite of the whole system. The goal is something much, much more powerful. It's using AI to regain understanding and to regain control over the incredible asset that you already own.
So I'm just going to leave you with this one thought. For years, we've looked at old code as a problem we need to solve, or just a giant mess that needs to be cleaned up. But what if we've been looking at it all wrong? What if the complete, unabridged history of your code actually holds the key to unlocking its entire future?